get ready to explore Italy, because today we're taking a deep dive into everything Italian. We've got a whole stack of articles about this beautiful country, but we're going to start by focusing on a charming village on Lake Como, Mondello dell'Ario. I can already picture myself strolling along that lake shore, just taking it all in.
Oh, yeah, and you should. Mandela del Lario is a perfect example of that classic Italian village charm, but it's also got a bit of a unique twist to it. You mentioned those lakeshore walks, but imagine also those narrow cobblestone streets lined with colorful houses with those classic porticos. It's like the quintessential Italian experience. But Mandela del Lario also has a really rich history that you can really feel in the village itself.
Oh, okay, I like that. So what kind of history are we talking about?
Well, right in the heart of the village, you'll find the Church of San Lorenzo, and just looking at it, you can see the layers of history in the village. The church itself is Baroque, but it has a Romanesque bell tower. Yeah. And that Romanesque style is a sign of a much older structure, probably from medieval times. Then later, they added the Baroque elements, which shows how it was renovated and changed over time.
That's fascinating. It's like the village is telling its own story through its architecture. And speaking of stories, we can't forget about the church's 18th century organ.
Oh, yeah, that organ. I bet it sounds incredible echoing throughout that historic space. It's really a testament to the craftsmanship of that time. It's a shame we don't know who made it. It's lost to history. But these kinds of organs were really important to the community back then. They were used for everything, from church services to parties and
It really
celebrations.
does make you think about the people who lived there hundreds of years ago.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've got these charming streets, a historical church, and an amazing organ. But what about the food? Because let's face it, it's not a real Italian experience without amazing food.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And you won't be disappointed in Mandello del Lario. Just imagine you've been exploring the village all day, and now you're sitting down at this cozy restaurant with views over the lake.
Mm.
The sun is setting, the water's reflecting this golden glow, and you're enjoying a plate of fresh pasta, maybe some fresh caught fish. It's the perfect combination of atmosphere, scenery, and of course, incredible Italian flavors.
You're making me hungry. But while Mandela dell'Ario sounds incredible, I know our listeners probably won't stop there. So let's zoom out and look at Italy as a whole. One of the articles we have lists the top 10 places to visit in Italy, and it really shows just how much variety this country has to offer.
Oh, that's what's so great about Italy. You can literally travel back in time amidst the ruins of Rome, explore the romantic canals of Venice, or maybe lose yourself in the rolling hills of Tuscany with all those vineyards. And then there's the dramatic Amalfi Coast with those pretty pastel villages clinging to the cliffs. It's a country that has something for everyone, no matter what you're looking for.
It's like picking your own adventure, but for travel. So many options, so little time. And speaking of time, one article says that 2024 is going to be a really busy year for travel. So it suggests booking things in advance to avoid disappointment.
That's really good advice, especially if you're thinking about visiting those really iconic places. Things like guided tours of the Vatican museums or the Colosseum in Rome or the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. Those tend to sell out quickly, and you don't want to spend your vacation standing in lines.
Definitely not.
Hmm.
Planning ahead can really save you a lot of stress and let you just enjoy the experience. Now, we've talked about Mandello dell'Ario and the top 10 list, but we've got even more in these articles. For example, there's one about things you can do for free in Rome, because who doesn't love saving money while traveling?
Right. And what's really cool is that Rome has so many famous sites that are totally free. Just imagine walking through Piazza Navona with its beautiful fountains and street performers, or just standing in awe under that dome in the Pantheon, that ancient Roman temple that's still standing today.
Wow. It's like stepping back into history without spending anything. What else can we do in Rome for free?
Oh, well, you can wander through the Roman Forum in Palatine Hill, just imagining how grand ancient Rome must have been. And of course, you can't miss the Trevi Fountain. Throwing a coin might cost a few cents, but just looking at this masterpiece of Baroque sculpture is free.
Yeah, and for art lovers, there's the Borghese Gallery. It has an amazing collection of sculptures and paintings by masters like Bernini and Caravaggio. And get this, it's free on the first Sunday of every month.
It is. But you have to book your tickets online in advance because it gets really busy. So if you're in Rome on the first Sunday of the month, make sure you grab those tickets.
Great tip. So to recap, you can explore ancient ruins, see amazing architecture, and experience world-class art all for free. Rome is sounding pretty tempting right now. But let's move from Rome to the mountains near Milan for a change of pace.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. The mountains near Milan are perfect if you want something different. You've got fresh air, amazing views, and it's a great way to connect with nature. One article even highlights 14 must-see spots for outdoor enthusiasts.
14 different places. Okay, I'm listening. What are some of the best ones?
Well, there's Piani di Bobbio, which is known for its family-friendly ski slopes and incredible views of the Grini Mountains. Then there's Monte Campione, which is a bit more challenging for experienced skiers and snowboarders. And if you're more into a relaxed experience, there's Val di Mello, a beautiful valley that's great for hiking and rock climbing.
Wow. So whether you're a serious skier or just a casual hiker, there's something for everyone in the mountains near Milan. It sounds like the perfect weekend getaway from the city. What else is on our Italian adventure list?
Well, let's head to Umbria. They call it the green heart of Italy. It's a region full of rolling hills, charming villages, and a cultural heritage that goes back centuries. Think about picturesque landscapes dotted with medieval towns and vineyards. It's a really peaceful escape if you're looking for beauty and tranquility.
It sounds just like that movie, Under the Tuscan Sun. So what are some of the must-see places in Umbria?
Well, you can't miss Perugia, the capital city. It's famous for its art scene and the Umbria Jazz Festival, which brings in music lovers from all over the world. Just imagine listening to world-class jazz in a place surrounded by medieval history.
That's an amazing mix.
Yeah.
What else does Umbria have to offer?
Well, there's Assisi. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's where St. Francis was born. You can visit the Basilica of St. Francis, which is an incredible building with stunning frescoes and has a very strong spiritual significance.
It sounds like Umbria has an amazing blend of art, history, spirituality, and natural beauty. Anything else that makes this region special?
Well, don't forget about the food and wine. Umbria is known for its truffles, olive oil, and really good local wines. It's a great place to enjoy the authentic flavors of the region and learn about its culinary traditions.
Truffles. Okay, now you're speaking my language. And before we finish this part of our Italian deep dive, let's go back to that article about the best places in Italy for TikTok influencers. I'm curious to see what's trending.
Oh, yeah, this article highlights how much TikTok is influencing travel these days. There's a new study from Pompeii Tickets and Tours that lists the most popular Italian vacation spots on TikTok. And it looks like food experiences like trying local pasta dishes or learning to make pizza are becoming really popular among influencers.
It seems like it's not just about famous landmarks anymore, but also about experiencing the local culture and sharing that authenticity with the world. But while we're on the topic of social media and travel trends, let's remember those of us who like to explore at our own pace without worrying about taking the perfect Instagram picture. Traveling is personal, and there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Absolutely. Whether you're inspired by TikTok or prefer to do your own thing, the most important thing is to find what brings you joy as a traveler. So with that in mind, let's shift gears and talk about something that might not be as glamorous as social media, but is just as important for travelers: transportation.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's new in Italian transportation?
Well, Italy is known for its great train system, and there's some exciting news there. There's a new high-speed train route that connects Naples, which is like the heart of southern Italy, to Gorizia, a city with a mix of Italian and Slovenian vibes.
Oh, wow. So you can see two very different sides of Italy on one trip. Tell me more about these two places.
Naples is a city that just bursts with energy. It's a place full of history and traditions, famous for its amazing pizza, bustling streets, and of course it's close to Mount Vesuvius and the ancient city of Pompeii. Gorizia, on the other hand, is more laid back. It's on the border with Slovenia, and it's got this fascinating mix of Italian and Slovenian cultures that goes back to Roman times.
So with this new train route, you can travel between these two totally unique cities easily. That's fantastic. But speaking of travel, let's go back to those must-do experiences in Italy that are probably going to sell out in 2024. We talked about guided tours earlier, but I want to learn more about those.
Right. Guided tours are a great way to see a lot and really make the most of your trip to Italy. Like we said, those famous places like the Vatican Museums, the Colosseum, and the Uffizi Gallery in Florence are always super popular. Booking a tour not only helps you avoid those long lines, but you also get expert information and historical context that you might miss if you're exploring by yourself.
It's like having your own personal expert guide telling you all about these amazing places. Are there any other experiences you'd recommend booking in advance?
Oh, definitely. Cooking classes are a must if you want to dive into Italy's incredible food culture. Imagine yourself learning how to make pasta from scratch, kneading the dough, rolling it out, and then turning it into delicious dishes like tagliatelle or ravioli.
Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. What about wine tastings? I'm really interested in learning more about Italy's famous wines.
Italy is a dream for wine lovers. A guided wine tasting is the perfect way to try all the different flavors and varieties from different regions. You could visit the vineyards in Tuscany, where they make Chianti and Brunello, or maybe go to Piedmont, which is home to the famous Barolo and Barbaresco wines. And a lot of times, these tastings come with local cheeses and regional specialties, making it a really special experience.
Okay, I'm adding that to my Italian bucket list. So we've got guided tours, cooking classes, and wine tastings. Any other experiences we should be thinking about?
Yeah, depending on what you're into, you might want to book tickets for concerts, the opera, or even football matches.
Hmm.
Italy has a really lively cultural scene, and going to a live event can make your trip even more memorable. Imagine experiencing the passion of Italian football fans or being completely blown away by an opera performance in a historic theater.
Oh, and we can't forget about those iconic gondola rides in Venice. I can't imagine going to Venice without gliding through those canals.
A gondola ride is a classic Venetian experience. Imagine drifting along the canals under those old bridges and seeing those grand palazzos along the water. It's like stepping back in time and experiencing the charm of Venice firsthand.
Okay, you've convinced me. A
Right.
gondola ride is a must. But before we get too carried away with all these amazing activities, let's go back to Lake Como for a minute. We talked about Mandela del Lario earlier, but the lake itself has so much more to offer.
Lake Como is one of those places that really captures your imagination. With its charming villages, stunning villas, it's a perfect blend of natural beauty, history, and even a bit of glamour. The town of Como itself is a great place to start. It's got a beautiful old town, a lively promenade along the water, and a funicular that takes you up to Brunei for these amazing panoramic views of the lake and the mountains.
And for those who want to explore the history and culture of the lake, there are some incredible villas to visit, right?
Absolutely. Villa del Balbianello is a must-see. It's famous for its terraced gardens and its stunning location right on the lake. It was even featured in the James Bond movie Casino Royale. And if you're an art lover, there's Villa Carlotta, which dates back to the 17th century and houses an amazing collection of sculptures and paintings.
So Lake Como has it all. Natural beauty, art, history, and a little bit of Hollywood glamour. It sounds like the perfect place to relax and take in the beauty of Italy.
It really is. And speaking of taking in the beauty, don't forget about the amazing food on Lake Como. They have everything from fresh fish to creamy risotto and fantastic local wines. There's something for everyone's taste.
You're making it really hard to resist booking that trip to Italy. But before we get too lost in our travel dreams, let's talk about something that's always on travelers' minds: experiencing Italy on a budget. We talked about free things to do in Rome and affordable options in smaller towns. But are there other ways to enjoy Italy without spending a fortune?
You know, Italy can actually be quite affordable if you're willing to be flexible and travel smart. For example, you could travel during the shoulder seasons, like spring or fall. The weather is still great, there are fewer crowds, and you'll often find better deals on flights and hotels.
That's a great tip. And I bet staying in smaller towns and villages, like Mandela del Lario, is cheaper than staying in big cities, too.
Exactly. You usually get more for your money when it comes to accommodations and food in smaller towns. Plus, you can really experience the local culture, connect with people, and find those hidden gems that you might miss in the bigger cities.
It's all about embracing the slow travel philosophy, taking your time, and really connecting with the place you're visiting.
That's it. And talking about connecting with a place, let's talk about something that can really make your trip better: learning the language. Even a few basic Italian phrases can go a long way in making your interactions with locals more meaningful.
I couldn't agree more. Learning a few simple phrases like buongiorno, good morning, grazie, thank you, and prego, you're welcome, can make all the difference. It shows respect for the culture and can lead to some really interesting conversations.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Italians are usually really understanding and appreciate you trying, even if your pronunciation isn't perfect.
It's all part of the fun of traveling and experiencing a new culture. Speaking of fun, let's go back to that article about Paolo Sorrentino, the award-winning Italian director, and his new film, Parthenope. It sounds like something everyone should see, especially if you're interested in Italian culture.
Parthenope is premiering in cinemas all over Italy on October 24th, and everyone's talking about it. Sorrentino is known for his beautiful and thought-provoking films that often explore themes of beauty, desire, and the human condition.
So, seeing a Sorrentino film during your trip would be a fantastic way to experience contemporary Italian culture through the eyes of a master storyteller. Well, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our Italian adventure. But don't worry, we'll be back soon to share our final thoughts and some ideas to inspire you to plan your own trip to Italy.
Welcome back to our Italian deep dive. We've covered charming villages, bustling cities, stunning landscapes, and all that delicious food. You must be ready to book that trip to Italy by now.
You're telling me I can practically smell that pasta and hear those cobblestones under my feet. But before we wrap things up, I wanted to touch on the cost again. We talked about free things in Rome and budgeting in smaller towns, but what are some other ways to experience Italy without spending a fortune?
Well, Italy can be pretty affordable if you're savvy about it. We talked about traveling during the shoulder seasons, but have you thought about agriturismi? They're like farm stays in the Italian countryside.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. Waking up to the sounds of nature and having breakfast with fresh local ingredients? I'm sold.
And don't forget about public transportation. Italy's train system is fantastic. You can get to most cities and towns for a lot cheaper than flying. Plus, you get to see the scenery and experience the local atmosphere.
It's all about enjoying the journey, not just the destination, right? Speaking of journeys, let's go back to that high-speed train connecting Naples and Gorizia. I love the idea of seeing two such different cities in one trip.
It's a great way to see how diverse Italy really is. You could start in Naples, soaking up that amazing energy, trying all the food, and visiting Pompeii and Herculaneum. Then you hop on that train and zoom off to Gorizia, where you can experience that blend of Italian and Slovenian culture, explore those charming streets, and try all the regional specialties.
It's like getting two Italian vacations for the price of one. And speaking of different experiences, what about those outdoor adventures? We talked about skiing and hiking near Milan, but I want to hear more about those 14 must-see nature spots.
Ah, yes. The mountains near Milan are perfect for escaping the city. Whether you're a hardcore skier, a casual hiker, or just love a good view, there's something for you there. We mentioned Piana di Bobbio, which is great for families, but if you're looking for a challenge, Monte Campione has some serious slopes.
And for those of us who like to keep our feet on the ground, Val di Mello sounds incredible. Those towering cliffs, crystal clear streams, lush forests. It sounds like a hiker's paradise.
It is, and that's just a glimpse of what the mountains near Milan have to offer. There are endless trails, hidden waterfalls, charming mountain villages where you can try the local food and just relax in that peaceful alpine setting.
Okay, you've convinced me. The mountains near Milan are going on my list. But let's take a step back and think about everything we've learned in this deep dive. We've talked about charming villages, bustling cities, stunning landscapes, and amazing cultural experiences.
It's clear that Italy really does have something for everyone. Whether you're passionate about history, art, food, nature, or just experiencing new cultures, Italy has a way of capturing your heart.
And that's what travel is all about, isn't it? Opening ourselves up to new experiences, broadening our horizons, and making memories that last a lifetime.
Exactly. So, as we wrap up our Italian journey, we encourage you, our listeners, to embrace that spirit of adventure and start planning your own Italian escape.
Whether you're drawn to the ancient ruins of Rome, the romantic canals of Venice, the rolling hills of Tuscany, the tranquil beauty of Lake Como, or the vibrant energy of Naples, Italy is waiting for you.
And who knows, maybe we'll bump into each other on a charming cobblestone street or share a delicious plate of pasta as we explore the magic of Italy together.
Ciao for now, and may your travels be filled with joy discovery and a little bit of Italian magic.